Ladies and gentlemen, hello. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer. Between the Slicks is live here on Thursday morning. I've got my cup of coffee. I hope you've got your drink of choice, and let's dive in and talk. Well, that was good. Drag racing. We're going to be doing that this morning with Seth and Zach Buff. Shadyside Dragway. We're going to be chatting with them. They have a huge event upcoming this weekend. But beyond Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, we certainly want to chat with them on Shadyside itself, everything they're doing, everything that is going on, the updates they're making, and the future for Shadyside that certainly looks bright. The last time that we aired, we had Kenneth Phillips on. He was the AGAS winner for the season opener at Brainerd Motorsports Park for the Southeast Gassers Association. And if you want to see all of that action from AGAS, you can see a full eliminations recap on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. So be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, go over that way and hit subscribe so that you will see all the content from yours truly, Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer, as I go across the country and cover drag racing and many other motorsports. We're going to take a quick break. Right after the break, Seth and Zach, and we'll dive in on the shady side. Right after this word from McKinney Corp. Very thankful for them. If I can find the commercial. One moment. Right there.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
All right, Seth, Zach, welcome to Between the Slicks. How are things going right now there at Shadyside this Thursday morning?
It's a little wet currently, but we're floating. We're good. We're hanging in there.
All right. So that everyone does know, because I've got an audience that may not be familiar with you two and Shadyside, who is Seth and who is Zach?
This is Seth.
I'm Seth.
Yeah, we're brothers. I'm Zach.
You have to call me Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon. I'm not hot. But yeah, we grew up here. Ronnie, our grandpa, bought it, and we've been here ever since. We was born 1992 for me, 91 for Seth, and
Yep.
we've been here our whole life. So.
Yep. Grandpa got it in 1980, and it's been in the family ever since. So this is what we do and all we do.
All right. Well, good to hear some young cats in ownership and promoting in the drag racing world. And, you know, Shadyside, I know outside of the Southeast, a lot of folks might not understand the mystique and the history with the track, but it is steeped. I mean, my dad with Gene Cromer and the Moonlighter Agas Willis all the way back in the day, he tuning with Gene. I mean, Shadyside was a track that was mentioned when I was doing junior dragsters. Running up there was mentioned. We never did it, but it is a track that has a ton of history, and it's certainly important in the economy of drag racing. So if you two can capsulize it, how important is Shadyside to drag racing in South Carolina, North Carolina, that region?
I can tell you a little bit. I actually had a conversation about this with our buddy Red Hall the other day, and he kind of gave me goosebumps talking about it because when you're here working, you know, this is our family business, and you don't think about it in that aspect a lot. You know, you're just trying to make sure that you're doing the best you can for your racers and your fans day to day. But when you take a step back and you're talking about what you're saying, he pointed out, he said, Shadyside has been on the evolution of everything that's come through the Southeast, whether it was Pro Mods, Outlaw 10.5, the radial tire racing.
Stuff, yeah.
I mean, we've been there through it all, and it really was pretty crazy. And then you got to dropping names. You know, you take Quayne Stott, who built the Southeast Gassers, an IHRA champion, Tommy Mooney, Scotty Cannon, David Pearson in the small tire world, Jamie Hancock resetting records down here for the first in the hose. So like you don't want to sound like you're bragging or anything, but like, you know, you kind of got hallowed ground you're stepping on. And like I say, it really gave me goosebumps talking about this. So it was interesting to hear because the place has been around since 1958. And like I said, Grandpa got it in 1980. But this place has seen a lot of evolution of drag racing and stayed on the front end of that. And then the Gassers coming back like they have, it's been awesome to see and to be a part of that and watch this growth.
It certainly has been. I would argue that, well, the Southeast Gassers Association coming to town is the biggest and baddest shows that you have on the docket just about every year.
Yeah. It's it definitely puts the fans in. And I don't know the stats on everything, but I know as far as race car wise, we do have one of the larger race car counts. I think we're looking at having like 80 this weekend.
A little over. Yeah, I think we're gonna have close to 85. So yeah.
And you can't stress enough to people, and I'm sure your fan base knows this, like how serious this racing is. This isn't an exhibition style race. You know, these are real guys that spend real money trying to beat each other in a heads up, all out drag race. I know some of the Gasser things can get portrayed as a exhibition or a sideshow, but this is the show, and it's really awesome to see.
You're absolutely right. It is serious drag racing, and Sega has always done a good job of putting on a good show. There's very little downtime. When there is downtime, they tell you how long it's going to be, and it's that long. And it also just fits well at a place like Shadyside, and it just looks right. And, you know, speaking of things looking right, there were certainly a day and time people would argue like, you know, I might not go to Shadyside, the facilities, things of that nature. But it seems like every time I go to Shadyside, you all continue to improve the facility. The bathrooms are far better than they ever were, and concessions is great. And, well, I think the hot topic is the new aluminum on the pit side there at the drag strip. So talk to us about the new grandstands.
Oh man, that's something we've needed for a long time now, and it's no secret. You know, those concrete ones done their job, and Grandpa and Dad actually done those back. Golly, I think our handprints are in the concrete there, but we was real small. We was probably 6, 7 years old. You know, I barely remember them working on them. I was that small, but this is an update that we've really needed for a long time, and we're going to be able to basically double our seating capacity just on that one side. And so the set that we have done, so we got phase 1 done, and then phase 2 will be, it should be done in the next 2 or 3 months. But the phase 1 we got done now should hold about 1,200 people to 1,300 people, and phase 2 will hold close to that. It'll probably hold another 800, 600, 800 people, but it's going to be on the other far end. You'll see it if you come this weekend, and it's going to be 5 rows higher than the ones that are on here now. So these are 10 rows, and then the phase 2 will be over 15 rows total. But this opened us up too. We was able to pull a set of bleachers from behind them, the old red ones that sat beside the concession, and put them over here on the creek side. Which unfortunately isn't the best seating, because I think, you know, a lot of people know the 8-foot fence, but that was the insurance deal. We had to put that up. So,
and we're looking at different things there, but you know, they're just growing pains and growing with us. But yeah, the bleachers seem to have been like you said, a hot topic, and we're really excited to have them. People are going to be able to sit comfortably. There's ramps to get on, so it'll make it easier for anybody that has an ailment to get on. They're right there at the concession stand. It's cleaner back there to get on and off. We're very excited about them, and I hope the fans like them this weekend.
Well, in a day and time where tracks closing gets so much publicity, it is certainly great to talk about a track moving forward and improving. And with you two guys, like, why? Why improve the track? Why move forward? Why not just get out of drag racing altogether, with it being the dying proposition that everybody makes it out to be? Why?
What the hell else would we do?
Yeah, it's always known. Like when I said earlier, like we grew up here, like we did. We had Grandpa and Dad had here, and our Grandma Gail. They bought this place in 1980. My dad was still in high school. I wasn't even thought of yet, or Seth wasn't either. He's older than me, and but then they had Harris also. So like we've been in racing our whole life. So it's if we done anything, if somebody told us we had to quit this and go work a normal job, we would. I don't know if we'd survive. We'd probably we'd probably pass some depression.
No, I mean really, it's if you've been here, you know, and it's something we take pride in. I mean, we've not only made friends, we've made family down here, and you know, I tell people all the time, we've got a really rare fan base that I see tracks complain about their fans or their racers complaining a lot and or fussing. We don't have that here. I mean, if my racers or fans come to me, it's usually a legitimate reason. And when you've got people like that behind you, supporting you, pushing, that makes it a lot easier to go, man, we're going to keep this going. People like this, and they share the same passion we have for this place. I mean, like I said, this has been a family business. You're watching. I was talking about this the other day. I don't know how many racetracks have seen, you know, our great grandpa, our dad, and us. You're on 4 generations of operations here, and I've got a daughter and he's got a son. So there's a 5th generation coming up. I don't know how many tracks have 4 and 5 generations sitting at them. So there's a lot of love here, and that's one of the reasons we keep going.
That is great to hear, that it's so family entwined, and the fan base and the racer base certainly holds it in such high esteem. I've never heard anything negative about Shadyside from racer or fan. People love going to the track that you two and the family have, so keep up the good work. With the evolution of the track, you mentioned the next phases as far as seating. I've got to ask, a phase in the evolution of the track a couple of years ago became a sanctioned track with the IHRA, International Hot Rod Association, for many, many years. Its whole history, it was outlaw of outlaw tracks. Why go to IHRA?
You take that one.
Yeah.
So several years ago, we started working on our bracket program, and just trying to get it to grow. No big dreams of what the bracket program should look like. Just we got to get it going. I mean, your sportsman racers are a big part of the lifeblood of any racetrack, and we knew we had to grow it. I don't want to say anything negative, but they did get overlooked for years with the whole 10-5 revolution and all that stuff. But we took a stance and we wanted to grow it, and we grew it slow. And then we're sitting around one day and we're starting to get car counts. And then we started paying better money and we got more car count. And actually, Bruce Bickerton was one of the ones that really started changing my mind on the sanction. He came and he's like, you've got guys that only race with you that should have been champions that didn't because they only raced at Shadyside. And that hit me pretty hard. And then the Varners, with the separation of the series going on, they were looking for an IHRA track. And man, he'd be a great track for IHRA. And so we had some good racers that really kind of prompted that and shifted my viewpoint and his viewpoint on what it meant to be a sanctioned track. You know, like, the outlaw thing was awesome and it was cool, but we were depriving great racers of winning world championships. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing that shifted that.
All right. Well, that's fascinating to hear. And I love how you told it, that it was racer driven and for the racers. That is great to hear, that it wasn't just, some will hear, moving to IHRA and moving to NHRA or moving to WDRA. This is about money, about insurance, about this. But, some of that comes with it. But I love to hear that the root of it was for the racer and them getting notoriety. That is fantastic to hear. Of the evolution of the track, the phases that we can expect, what beyond the grandstands are you two looking at for Shadyside Dragway? You know, I remember showing up one time, the bathrooms are updated, and show up this weekend, we're going to see updated grandstands. So, what is still a part of the foreseeable future?
So that all depends if we hit the lottery or not. No, but really, what we're looking to do is, of course, the grandstands finish that. We're really working on parking. We've got the old pan earth mover working the other day, and it's actually the same pan that Grandpa bought years ago, and we used to straighten the shutdown out. So we're using it on the fourth level, and excuse our mud that's laying around the property right now. We didn't know that it was going to rain 3 days before our biggest event of the year, so there's a little bit of mud laying around. But we're going to start on that very, very top level. If you're on the third level, there's another level up there where the Highline power lines go across. We're going to start working on that, clearing it off, getting it flat, and bringing it down. And we're actually moving a lot of dirt into the gully in front of our grandma's house. And we're just going to start flattening some of this land up, getting some of the terrain where it's more, traversable and you can use it, just hit it and park it and just utilize what we got. We've got 72 acres here, but I think 69 and a half of it's on the hill, so we've got to do some dirt moving. And that's our next big deal is to get more parking because I think everybody knows nobody's rig is getting smaller, and so everything's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Haulers, stackers, everything's getting bigger. So we got to try to accommodate that, try to make more room, and we're getting more race cars than ever. Like Seth said earlier, we're growing the bracket program. I remember when I was a kid, we'd have 30 to 40 top cars, and then we'd have about 25 to 35 foot brake cars, and you'd have 15 to 26 cars. Well, now about any given weekend on a race, like if we have a race and it's a points race, we'll have 60 in top, and we'll have about 60 in foot brake, not counting our 6-0 division and our heads up class that we're running that weekend. So we'll have over 150, 170 race cars down here on the big race. So we just gotta try to expand more room to make it more comfortable for our racers to park and camp and utilize the land properly. So.
Well, you all keep up the good work, and it is certainly good to hear of a track moving forward and not just resting where they're at, but let's make things better. Let's make things better for racers, for fans. And, even this weekend, you all have announced that you're going to have a shuttle service. You realize parking was tough last time with the Southeast Gases Association, so there's going to be a shuttle service. And though I know some are upset with it, but it's kind of supply and demand. It's capitalism. The fact is, you've got an issue with camping and parking, and you're like, hey, we need a charge for this. Well, that's going to be in turn not just put in your pockets, but put back in the facility, put back to pay for more staff. And you all being transparent about that, I appreciate that. And the kickback is certainly undeserved in any shape, form, or fashion. But I'm so glad that so many have chimed in and be like, hey, I'm more than glad to pay that, have my spot, and enjoy some good drag racing.
If you don't mind, I'll touch on that a second.
Go ahead.
Just maybe some people that didn't hear it. It is a $50 fee, and that's all weekend. So, like guys that are coming in today, it's $50. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like I said, I think that's nominal. I don't think it's a huge fee. We're hiring people to help park them better. We've got some laid out lines, so you'll have a clear place to go. It wasn't an attack on racers or just campers, but the fact of the matter is, like you just said, we're growing to a point where we have to be smart on how we park. And once again, not a dig at anybody, but last time we had campers parked sideways and crooked, and they were making little front yards for themselves, and that's great. We camp at racetracks, we love it, but when you're talking about the size that this show has gotten, there has to be a little organization, and that comes at cost. And but like I said, like you said, we are taking this. It's going back in. It's not a money grab, as somebody called it. It's just trying to make sure that this show flows efficiently and we can provide the best show for everybody. And, just like I said, I wanted to take a second and reiterate that to maybe some people that didn't hear it.
Hey, I think it's a great value, even if you don't show up tonight, which from what I understand is a test and tune night at Shadyside, right?
Well, yeah, it's probably we're rained out. I would say I
Okay.
haven't made the official. It would have been a regular testing tune, so it would have been $15 to get in tonight, and that's 6 to 10.
All right. So, if that had happened and occurred, you're paying $50 to camp on top of entry fee, and I believe the weekend pass with Sega is 35, if I remember correctly.
That's a smoking deal too. So
Right. You get a concert with Johnny Royals on Friday night, the meet and greet, some things hitting the track. You got all day racing Saturday from qualifying to eliminations. I mean, that's a stellar deal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything to complain about. Y'all keep up the good work for sure. Well,
more.
So obviously we're looking at the Southeast Gassers Association this weekend. It's going to be a huge race, huge turnout. We're all looking forward to it. But gassers are not the only thing that show up to Shadyside. We've already had Corey Stamper chime in. He says that Seth always looks like he just woke up from a rough night. Man, just plugging that. Great, Corey. But Corey does a great job with full media and the promotions that he's involved in the Carolinas and beyond. What are some other programs that are highlights on the schedule concerning Shadyside for the rest of the year?
Well, so just depending what you're into, we've got A1 cycles coming up at the end of the month. I mean, I don't want to list the whole schedule, but just touching on the high points, like I said, A1 Cycles is a bagger event. It's a Harley bagger event. We've got a music festival the first weekend of May. That's a 2-day long music festival. You can come down here and hang out. Camping's free that weekend. It's free that weekend, guys. You can come use that. But you can come watch some music. It's I forget the gate prices. Once again, not going into all that. The Ronnie Buck Memorial, paying an ode to the man that built this place. That is the Memorial Weekend. That's $50,000 a win for small tire racing. We're going back to the 28 slicks. We've got a 64 invite car field. So there was only 64 cars invited, and they will be racing for 50 to win, along with our bracket program and other classes. And I do want to take 1 second to step back a couple weeks. The second week of May is the No Brainer Foundation, the No Brainer Nationals. I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but Red Hall and his family, they had a son named Jackson, and he had brain cancer at a very young age. And they beat it one time, and it came back pretty viciously from the treatment. And they just lost him a couple weeks ago. And his foundation pays for medical bills. It pays for funeral expenses for these kids. I mean, travel expenses.
Research, they donate to the research for childhood brain cancer.
He goes on and on with this foundation. If you don't have anything to do that second week of May, or even if you do, try to make it down here and check that out and hear that story. That is a huge one to support. Other than that, you go into the summer, we got some grudge racing. I'll have another slick tire race in September, and then Gassers back in November.
Oh, we do have a unique. Seth thinks I nerd out on this, but as I do, Corey does it with me too. Yeah. We got a race coming up the first weekend in September. It's going to be RC drag racing, and we're putting it on the racetrack. So if you're into RC drag racing, it's called the Hillbilly Nationals. Check it out. So we're going to be putting that on down here.
Guys, that's great. Music festival, you got RC drag racing, all the different types of racing mentioned, from gassers to grudge racing, and no time. That is commendable. I'm so glad to hear that you all are having a very well-rounded package. It's sad to me when I see motorsports entities, like, all they do is just one type of racing, and that's it. Like, guys, you've got all this land, you've got grandstands, you've got a facility, use it for more. And I don't know, I work for Funny Car Chaos and Chris Graves. It'd be cool once we're can expand beyond Maryland International Raceway on the East Coast, that Shadyside and Funny Car Chaos can do something together. That'd be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah,
I've been talking about trying to get in touch with some funny car stuff, so I need to, if you've got some leads, I need to talk to some people and figure out the logistics of that. I'd love to see it.
Okay, hey, I know the guy in North Carolina right now, Jagger Naves with earth-shaking entertainment, and Matt Stambaugh and those guys, they can certainly bring in some funny cars next week if needed and put on a show. So we'll talk this weekend. Well, guys, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but from what I understand, you all might get some racing in this weekend yourselves, because there is a gasser on site, if I remember correctly, a nice station wagon, right?
Yeah, it's a 57 Nomad, and it's called the Golden Nugget, and we run it in C-Gas. I raced it in the fall. Our brother Bryson will be in it this weekend. So it's a good running car. We've been doing some testing with it, and we should qualify in the top 8, and if we thought about doing a gear change on it, and that might pick us up, it might hurt us. I don't know. So we'll see where we land, and we'll cross that bridge on Friday, Saturday, because that's the track we're racing. We'll be racing that track Friday, Saturday, not all the test sessions. So we'll see what we can do. But it's a good running car. It's got 306 Fulton motor in it, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. If you drug one, don't drive one, because you'll buy one. It's awful. It's a drug. It's an addiction.
Well, not only is it a good running car, I've seen it in person. It is a sharp-looking hot rod. Y'all have got a good-looking piece there. Well, guys, last thing, go over the ground floor elements and clue us in on start time, gates opening, admission, all that good stuff. Give us that one more time for this weekend.
Okay. So if you come in tomorrow, it's $20 to get in. And also Saturday's $20 to get in. Or you can buy a weekend pass for $35. So you get a $5 break at the gate if you buy a weekend pass. So might as well come down and hang out with us Friday and spend an extra $15 and hang out with us. If you do bring a camper, it is $50. If you're a racer and you got your motorhome and your race car in tow, we do not charge the racer. We're not looking to beat anybody up. We're just really trying to, tone down on the amount of space the campers took up last year. Tomorrow, testing starts at 4 and runs till 9. Gates will open Saturday at 9 a.m. and then track will go hot at 12, I believe.
Thank you. No, track's hot at 1, or qualifying at 1.
Qualifying at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
I think you made a mistake there. You said 20 and 20. It's 20 and 25.
Oh, 20 and 25. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then the weekend pass is 35.
Yeah, so Saturday is $25. So you get a $10 break at the gate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we'll be down here Sunday, testing 2 and 1 to 5. So that's our weekend.
All right. Got a great weekend of drag racing ahead for everyone in North Carolina, South Carolina, because South Carolina is just down the road as well. It's going to be a great time in the Carolinas for some drag racing. Gentlemen, thank you for your time right here on Between the Slicks. Have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you both.
Thank you, buddy. We'll see you later.
All right, Seth and Zach Buff, ownership there at Shadyside Dragway. We're going to take a quick break, and right after the break, we're going to dive into drag racing news and look beyond Southeast Gassers Association and see what is happening in the world of drag racing. I will be at Shadyside this weekend and getting the action in particular on the A-Gas category once again from Shadyside and the Southeast Gassers Association. If you want to see a recap from the first race of the year, you can see that on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. Gassers are back. A-Gas eliminations from the 2024 season opener. Race number 2 is about to fire up this weekend at Shadyside. Again, the Monday Morning Racer, yours truly here, Lee Kraft, will be on scene. We will be capturing the action and get it out on the YouTube channel as soon as possible from this upcoming weekend. A break, and then we'll dive into drag racing news here on Between the Slicks. While the break is happening, hit the like button, hit the share button, chime in also in the comment section. Thank you all for watching.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it in the neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your theft deterrent system TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
And starting us off in drag news, we will look to NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing, the winners of the Arizona Nationals. Austin Prock picks up his first funny car win in the NHRA, adds himself to certainly a highly esteemed list of those who have won in Top Fuel and in funny car in the NHRA, only the 19th driver to do so. Sean Langdon picks up another win for Coletta Motorsports. They certainly are off to a hot start in 2024. And Greg Anderson, driving in rare form, though it's not rare for him as one of the greatest pro stock competitors of all time, picks up another Wally of his esteemed career there in the desert for the Arizona Nationals. In Pro Mod, Kevin Rivenbark picks up the win. His first win in NHRA Pro Mod, does so in a debut out there in the desert. First time Pro Mod had been to Firebird Motorsports Park. And also, may I say that it is great that there was so much negativity around Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park closing, possibly to be demolished and become the space for an on and off ramp. But it is saved. It's been turned around. It's been rebranded back to where it should be, Firebird. And we have drag racing once again in the desert for the NHRA and also the other motorsports that will take place there. I believe certainly we look forward to seeing drag boat racing back on the lake and the motorsports also happening there at the road course. And everything that facility means to the community. Certainly glad that Firebird is back. And you can tell that the fans wanted it and they turned out for it. 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, were announced as sellouts at Firebird Motorsports Park. Certainly glad to hear that. As we look to the next race for the NHRA, that will be the 4-wide Nationals at Las Vegas. Top Alcohol Dragster will have a new individual debuting, and it is Juan Cantu. Probably not saying that right. This gentleman's from Mexico, earned his license later last year, rather, and he is going to be hopping in the McPhillips Racing Top Alcohol Dragster ride, burning some nitro in that class with the McPhillips Racing team. Certainly hope he has a great debut. So good to see international drivers within the NHRA and the diversity that is there. So much of it, and it is certainly good to see. But we hope that he has a great start. As I mentioned with Seth and Zach, I work for Chris Graves, Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, and we kicked off our season last weekend at the Texas Motorplex with the 4th annual Funny Car Chaos Classic, including Nitro Chaos. And it was a good time. A lot of drag racing, some long days, long nights, but nonetheless, it was spectacular to have that many Nitro Chaos cars, first ever Seafield, and that many funny cars as well on property. It was a good show. And very quickly, want to go through the winners. In the D field for Funny Car Chaos, Jade Cook picks up the win. Now, that is not her usual hot rod. Usually, she is in a bright yellow funny car called Nemesis, and it happens to be a centrifugal supercharged machine, pro-charged, and something happened. Something broke. But her brother, this is his hot rod, the Bad Intentions funny car. She hops in it, gets it qualified, and goes all the way to a win. Last year, she made a final round at this event. Now she wins it in 2024, and she is certainly a threat to do well in Funny Car Chaos competition, finishing third in points in her first year out. Then we look at the B and C fields. The C field winner, there on the right, Chuck Lofton in his Motivation Mustang. And then to the left, the bucket list Nitro Funny Car of Nick Polson. Team cars under the same trailer. They were able to pick up the win at the Funny Car Chaos Classic, and the A field winner is Beal Bernard, Mile High Crankshafts in his Top Alcohol Funny Car. He gets the win in the A field out of Colorado. Nitro Chaos competitors. First time competitor in Nitro Chaos, debuting a new hot rod, the Scrap Bucket. Wade Pennington wins the C field. Tyler Hilton, your NHRA Heritage Series champion in Top Fuel. He shows up to Nitro Chaos and wins in the B field. And then Kevin Kinsley at the wheel of the War Wagon. The War Wagon tends to show up at the Texas Motorplex and do well. That machine is the fastest fuel altered in the quarter mile. We believe also they set records for the 8th mile this past weekend, far as elapsed time and mile per hour. They pick up the win in the Nitro Chaos A field. Last year in Funny Car Trim, they picked up the win in the A field as well. The next race for Funny Car Chaos, the Chaos Cajun Nationals. Not this weekend, but the weekend after this one. Be sure to catch it. A lot of great action happening and taking place for Funny Car Chaos in that world of drag racing. The PDRA was in action this past week for the East Coast Nationals at Galot Motorsports Park. Your winner in Pro Nitrous, Brian Schrader. Your winner in Pro Boost, a name that many at Shadyside would be familiar with, Todd Tutterow. Your winner in Extreme Pro Stock, Johnny Placino. The winner in Pro 632, Andy House picks up the win. Pro Extreme Motorcycle, Eric McKinney. Pro Street, Scott Kincaid. And then Super Street, Blake Denton. Those are your winners for the East Coast Redline Oil PDRA Drag Racing Series. Their season now fired up and well underway with winners declared from Galot Motorsports Park. Now, what I did notice about that, all those professional categories of the PDRA, well, only one Ford, Johnny Placino in Extreme Pro Stock, picked up the win. Come on, Ford nameplates. Come on, Chrysler nameplates. We've got to pick it up there in Pro Nitrous, Pro Boost, and Pro Street and Super Street. Pro Street, Super Street, such cool classes within the PDRA, and love the lineup of the PDRA. And I do enjoy how they split Pro Nitrous and split Pro Boost. It's unique in the world of drag racing. I like how they do that. Not that everybody has to do it that way. I don't want everybody doing that way, but I do like how the Professional Drag Racers Association does it. Now, this weekend, as we have stated, the drag racing action to catch that we've talked about is in North Carolina this weekend, the western side of North Carolina, the Shelby Nationals at Shadyside Dragway, presented by Robbins Repairables. That's going to be taking place April 12th and the 13th. Here are the other events near us for the Southeast Gassers Association coming up at Killcare Dragway and also Knoxville Dragway. But it is not the only drag racing action taking place. Let's say you're on the eastern side, if you will, or central side of North Carolina. You can also catch drag racing action April 12th through the 14th. So Sunday action for the NMRA and NMCA at the Rockingham Dragway. So if you want a whole entire weekend of drag racing action, it can start at Shadyside and you can end it at the Rock in North Carolina this very weekend in North Carolina. Again, drag racing action taking place in Las Vegas. Also, drag racing is taking place across this country. And just because we didn't mention here doesn't mean it's not happening. Find your local drag strip, go out and support that local place, and enjoy racing right there near you. You don't have to just go to an NHRA national event. You don't have to just go to a big show to enjoy some great drag racing action. Drag, drive, repeat. The Circuit Drag and Drive event, April 19th through the 21st at Mocan. Mocan, a great place. Certainly enjoy seeing the folks at Mocan Dragway, and they do a great job no matter the event. Certainly I'm familiar with Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos rolling through the gates there, but they have plenty of other types of drag racing as Drag, Drive, Repeats mentioned here. The Circuit Drag and Drive event, April 19th through the 21st. So, drag racing alive and well, and you can catch it, and you need to do so this weekend at Shadyside or Rockingham or Las Vegas or beyond. Get to the drags. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer. This has been Between the Slicks. Thanks to Seth and Zach for their time. We'll see you at Shadyside. If I don't see you at Shadyside, I need to know that you were at a track and enjoying some drag racing. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
The big one is back in Baton Rouge. The Larice Motorsports Insurance Chaos Cajun National. Friday and Saturday, April 19th and 20th at the historic State Capitol Raceway. Mind-blowing supercharged funny cars, flame-scorching jets, a wheelie standard, gassers, and more. Kids 12 and under are free, and every ticket is your pit pass. Get more info at funnycarchaos.com. Race fans, you know what to do. April 19th and 20th. Be there.